The shocking truth behind the Ryan Lindgren trade has been revealed as all the details of the trade have been released, and some of the details will surprise Rangers fans. And we may have just gotten a look into what Chris Drury's future plans are for the rest of this week heading into the trade deadline, and it's going to be a crazy one for the New York Rangers. We're going to break that down and much more on this episode of Rangers Digest. But before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 68% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with absolutely everything that's happening with the New York Rangers, it's free. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Now, before we get into any of the advanced analytics and the truth behind the trade and all that, I wanted to take a moment to start this video to just say thank you to Ryan Lindgren, because there's been a lot made out of him potentially being traded and him falling off a little bit this season. But at the end of the day, this is a guy who laid his body on the line. This is a guy who literally bled for the New York Rangers. So, on behalf of all the fans, I do want to say thank you to Ryan Lindgren for everything that he put his body through for the Rangers, for their playoff success the last couple of years and since he came to New York. It's going to be sad to see him go, but it was a necessary move for the club. So again, thank you to Ryan Lindgren. I thought he was a fantastic player, and all the videos I've been making, everything I've been saying about him, it's just because I want what's best for the New York Rangers, and everyone and all fans of Rangers, or the Rangers fans, want what's best for the team, and that was to move off of him at this point in time. But again, Ryan Lindgren quite literally bled for this team in the playoffs, so shout out to Ryan Lindgren, and wish him the best in Colorado. But here is the official trade. We're going to break down the trade and a little bit about who's coming back the other way and some numbers around Ryan Lindgren, which lends to why this trade was actually quite necessary. So the trade is the New York Rangers acquire Calvin DeHaan, who I'm actually a big fan of. I think this is a really good move for the New York Rangers. Juuso Parssinen, who I think is probably just going to fill in Jimmy Vesey's spot. A 2025 conditional second-round draft pick and a fourth-round draft pick. So they get a second and a fourth. We'll get to the conditions a little bit later in the video. They'll start to make some more sense. And it's actually a very good trade. This is, dare I say, a heist for the New York Rangers. I feel like they did actually rob the Avs. I know the Avs have some needs, and I think Ryan Lindgren will be good for them, but I actually think that this is a robbery for the New York Rangers, honestly, with where they're at. Now, Calvin DeHaan, he is 33 years old now at this point. He's appeared in 44 games for Colorado this season, notching 7 assists. On the Avalanche, he ranks 5th among skaters in hits with 59 and block shots. So this is a guy who's going to come in, he's going to block shots, he's going to hit everything that moves. The Rangers need more of that. I think they want more stability. They want someone sturdy back there on the blue line, kind of like what we see with Will Borgen. I think this is a good move. And again, I don't know if he stays beyond this season. I don't know what the plan is, beyond this year's trade deadline, but I think that it's going to be very interesting adding another guy who could add some stability and, again, some physicality to the Rangers blue line. So again, if you take a look at his career stats, I think he's been another pretty sturdy defenseman. He's had a pretty accomplished career in the NHL, so not a bad move in that way. And Parssinen, again, he's 24 years old. He still has some potential there, although I think he's probably just going to fill in a third or fourth line role for this team. He has, switched between the NHL and the AHL quite a bit. The Nashville Predators, the Colorado Avalanche just traded for him a couple months ago. Again, he's played over 100 NHL games, so he has some experience in the NHL. So pretty good pickup in that way. You get some assets in return that can actually help the team for Ryan Lindgren and Jimmy Vesey. And not only that, you get your draft picks as well. So this is the full trade. I didn't even mention, actually, I did mention in the last video, but the Rangers are retaining 50% of Ryan Lindgren's salary this year, which is totally fine. The Rangers have a ton of cap space that they can do with that, and they're not going to go out and be buyers at this year's trade deadline. They're not going to win the Stanley Cup this year. They might not even make the playoffs. Let's be realistic at this point, right? It's not looking likely, but although they're still in the mix, it can definitely still happen, but not looking likely. So it's Ryan Lindgren and Jimmy Vesey to Colorado with prospect Hank Kempf for Juuso Parssinen, Calvin DeHaan, a conditional second and fourth round pick in 2025, and the New York Rangers retain 50% of Lindgren's $4.5 million salary for the rest of this year. He's a UFA at the end of the year, mostly why they needed to trade him, because why would you lose that player for nothing in free agency? He was not returning to the Rangers, so I think this is actually really good asset management from Chris Drury. I'm not going to lie. This is something that had to happen, and it has happened. So the second is the better of Carolina or Colorado's. The fourth is the better of Colorado's or Vancouver's. So whoever ends up having the better pick in this year's draft, whether it be draft lottery, what have you, what happens in the playoffs, the Rangers will get the better of both of those picks, which I think is great as well, right? Like, why not? So pretty good move here from Chris Drury. And again, I've been critical of Chris Drury on this channel. I think that he's actually made some really good moves. I was a big fan of the JT Miller trade. I think it was a good trade. And this, again, is another good trade. And yes, it's not going to get them into the playoffs. And yes, it might be not exciting in by way of the Rangers might not even make the playoffs this season. But I think that this is pretty tidy work from Chris Drury. I'm not going to lie. And this is from Johnny Lazarus giving us some insight on Parssinen specifically, who I think can be an interesting piece for the New York Rangers. And he said he just spoke to one of Juuso Parssinen's former teammates from his time in Milwaukee. And that teammate said, he's a horse down low with the puck. His lower body strength is crazy. You can't take the puck off of him. He's got a nose for the net, and he's a great guy. A little on the quieter side, but good English and great to talk to. So kind of sounds like Capo Caco, not going to lie, a little bit in terms of, talking about his play and what he brings to the table. But I think that's not a bad thing. I think Capo Caco plays the game the right way, not going to lie. He didn't get an opportunity here with the Rangers, but also it's a two-way street. We've talked about it on the channel that, you have to play well to earn those opportunities as well. So Parssinen has an opportunity to kind of come in here, make a home for himself if he wants, and I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to offer the Rangers in that way, because we know there's a lot of top guys on the Rangers that don't play that way. So adding more guys to the team that do, that is a big plus for me. I do like guys who are strong on the puck on the boards. I think it's a very good thing. So that's exciting to hear. In terms of Calvin DeHaan, I like this move a lot. I have to be honest. This is a very sturdy defenseman. Analytically, if you look at everything that's going on Twitter right now, all the advanced analytics, all the charts and stuff, he actually might be a better defenseman than Ryan Lindgren this year, at least defensively. Ryan Lindgren, too, hilariously enough, I'm going to bring this up. If you look at his stats this year, he's actually having his best offensive season as a Ranger in his career. In his career, he's having the best offensive season, and he's playing quite a lot of minutes as well on average. But unfortunately, the defensive side of the game is just falling apart on him. I don't know what it is this year, but it just hasn't been going well for him. But again, ironically enough, he's been putting together a pretty good season offensively. Now, if you look at Parssinen, 11 points in 37 games so far this year in the NHL. Again, great lower body strength. He's a dog on the puck, right? He's 6'3". He's a big boy. So I think this is going to be a pretty interesting move to add a guy like this to your bottom six there, the third and fourth line. I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do with this team. And, you always have some more legs once you get traded as well in a trade. And again, Calvin DeHaan, I think this is a pretty good move. -8, again, I don't like to look at plus minus too much, but if you're a negative on a good team, something to consider. But again, just a sturdy defenseman back there. He's not going to offer too much offensively, but that's fine, right? For the New York Rangers. You have Adam Fox. Obviously, he's out right now due to injury, but you have guys like Adam Fox. I think Schneider's very underrated defensively, or offensively too, and obviously Zach Jones too, if he ends up getting into the lineup. But to get back to this, Calvin DeHaan is not bad. And I'm not going to repeat those words, but the Rangers actually got better with this deal immediately. And Calvin DeHaan's a little bit older. He's 33, so I don't know what the future is with him and the Rangers, but I don't mind this move. I think the Rangers made out very good in this trade. And again, this is the sentiment, I think, from most Rangers fans. It's sad to see Ryan Lindgren go, as he sacrificed his body countless times for the New York Rangers. And, we'll always have love and respect for a player who's done that and bled for this team. So this is the entire full breakdown if you want to pause and look at it from Vince Mercogliano before we wrap up here. But one last time, Ryan Lindgren, Jimmy Vesey, and Hank Kampf out the door for and 50% of Ryan Lindgren's salary retained for Juuso Parssinen, who I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do with the Rangers. A big boy who can get on the puck there, get in on the forecheck. It's going to be exciting. I'm not expecting anything crazy offensively, but just how can he create energy in the lineup and how can he play that role, right? I'm going to be really looking for that. Calvin DeHaan, I think, is going to be another steady force on the blue line. A second-round pick and a fourth-round pick, both of these drafts in this year's draft. And the second-round pick is the better of either Carolina's or the New York Rangers pick this year. And a fourth-round pick that is the better of Colorado's or Vancouver's. So I think it was a pretty good trade. And, it is pretty shocking to see Ryan Lindgren go and the reasons behind it. But honestly, I think the Rangers made out very well in this trade, considering the circumstances. So let me know what you think about the trade and the details of the trade in the comments. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.